Coaches and consultants. In this video, I want to show you how to gain clarity and build a profitable business using the optimal growth model. And your business will change forever once you understand the natural order of S&M. I can guarantee you that, which I'll talk about throughout this entire video. I'll keep it real brief, but before I dive in, I want to pretty much talk about my backstory. My name is Jerry Shadovon, and my first high ticket offer was back in 2020 when I started teaching credit repair business owners how to attract more customers. And I did this part time. And it was only right because I ran my own credit repair business since 2014. So I knew the niche like the back of my hand. Then in the middle of 2020, I went from having little to nothing in my bank account to hitting about 100K. And that's when I thought, you know what? Why not go all in with this coaching? As you can see with these screenshots over here. Now, here's the thing. I got really good at it. I got really good at closing high ticket deals anywhere from 7.5K to 15K on a consistent basis. As you can see, these are some screenshots of different invoices that were completed. But here's the thing. Every time I try to take it up a notch, that's when things will get chaotic. Like I constantly find myself climbing up just to hit rock bottom over and over again. At one point, I felt like running a business was stressful as hell. And I tried everything I could to fix this issue. I ran several different funnels. I tried raising the ad spend. I tried hiring setters and closers. I tried crafting crazy offers with ridiculous guarantees. I tried investing into reputable coaches like Tanner Chister, as you can see us in this image over here, to Cole Gordon's team. As you can see, this is the agreement signed by me and his team. And every time I thought I had it figured out, I'd run into different bottlenecks that would always keep me up at night. I wouldn't close enough deals at scale. People wouldn't show up to their appointments. I started working with people I didn't enjoy working with. The clients that would finish the program, they wouldn't ascend. And I finally came to a realization. My problem wasn't the funnels. It wasn't my systems. It wasn't even the coaches I was working with, right? Like Tanner's program was amazing. Working with Cole Gordon was life-changing. That wasn't my issue. My issue was I didn't understand the natural order of S&M. Now, when you go against the natural order of S&M, you fall into a never-ending cycle, which I learned the hard way. So what was this cycle? This cycle is what I call the loop of death. I was offering the same service as a million other people out there, which made me a commodity. And because I had no leverage, it was impossible for me to take my business to the next level. But the worst part was I had no clarity on what the problem was. So I honestly thought that I was doing things the right way and I had things figured out. It got to a point where I could anticipate what would happen. I would go through a slump, which would hurt my revenue. But guess what? The bill still had to be paid. So I had to let go staff member and cut back on expenses. Then I would find myself wearing a million different hats, constantly putting out fires while losing clients during the process. And then I would find myself in this never ending search for this new loophole or some sort of new hack to acquire new clients. And then when I would finally bring in some cash and I start to feel good, the cycle would restart. And then I would find myself right back at square one. It was like a never ending nightmare. And I know some of you out there know exactly what I mean. So look, I get it. You're probably feeling a bit frustrated with all the strategies that you tried that hasn't worked for you, or maybe you're overwhelmed with information overload. It's like you tried all these courses and all these coaching programs, but nothing seems to click, right? And let's not forget about juggling a million tasks and constantly putting out fires. How can you possibly find the time to figure this out on your own? Trust me, I've been there and I've done that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can solve this issue. I'm going to show you how I was able to put an end to this nightmare by understanding the natural order of S&M and how I was able to help quite a few business owners do the same exact thing. For example, a good buddy of mine is Juan Pablo with 100% Finance. He has a big following on social media. And with him, his main thing was he liked to do everything organic. So what we did, we went into his business. We redefined some of the infrastructure and we implemented our client acquisition system. And now he generates over 6 figures a month, every single month. Another person I worked with was Janata Turner. She's the founder of Magnetic Group. She was able to generate 30K using our model. She was also able to generate over 3,700 leads in less than 6 months after we built out her infrastructure. Now, the natural order of S&M is a process which consists of 3 key components: setting the right expectations, gaining leverage, and knowing when to pivot and evolve. The first thing is setting expectations and clear goals. let's be honest. Most people in this industry are just following trends. We see what everyone else is doing and we mimic it because we didn't set clear expectations for ourselves when we enter the game, mainly because we didn't know what the heck we were doing in the first place. So we spend so much time trying to replicate what the gurus are doing, but we fail to realize that they're on a totally opposite side of the spectrum than we are. For example, you might have followed some of Sam Oven's strategies in the past, but it's not working for you the way that it's working for him. Well, if you understood the natural order of S&M, you know that he has an insane amount of leverage and insight that you don't have. So while you're trying to copy his tactics like everyone else is, your service becomes commoditized. And a commodity is when a product or service becomes standardized and loses their unique qualities, often replaced by lower cost alternatives. See, back in the day, you could get away with this because hardly anyone was advertising these services. The supply was low, but the demand was sky high. If you offered a really good coaching program, you could charge top dollars for your skills. But now it's a whole different ballgame. The supply is at an all-time high. With so many options out there, the consumer can call the shots, setting the market rates. And that's not all. It's driving prices down and making it tougher for small businesses to keep up, which puts you in a cycle that I call the loop of death. Now, this creates competition, and when you're in competition, you lose leverage. When that happens, you end up in what we call the race to the bottom. And right now, if you're pitching your services the way that everyone else is, you're just another run in that race. So instead of following these trends, what you need to do is you need to take a step back, set clear expectations on how you want to gain leverage in your sales and marketing process. You want to figure out how you can have people view your products or service in a way that's going to give you leverage. How can you define your offer in a way that's going to set you apart from the pack? What mechanisms should I use that's going to give me leverage? When you don't set clear expectations, you're left without clarity. You end up just following what the crowd is doing and your business becomes stagnant. Now, the next thing you want to focus on is gaining leverage. Like I mentioned before, I've tried everything and I constantly crash. One of the biggest issues when you're starting as a business owner is that you don't know what you're doing. Most people put all of their energy into client acquisition, which makes sense because you need clients in order for your business to run. Now, the problem is most people put so much energy reinforcing that one thing that every other aspect in their business suffers. For me, nothing worked for me until I took a step back and realized that instead of putting all my focus to client acquisition, I needed to respect the natural order of S&M and focus on gaining leverage. One way I was able to gain massive leverage was by building and leveraging advanced infrastructure throughout my entire operations. Most business owners that I encounter deal with operational issues, which affects the quality of the service that their client receives. This leads to a high rate of customer turnover every single month. So rather than fix this issue, most business owners are fixated on getting more clients and trying to play the numbers game, all while ignoring the real problem, an inefficient operation setup. That's the challenge that most coaches encounter with growth. When you have no clear systems and protocols to follow, scaling a business can seem like navigating through a maze. And having an operations model that's optimal allows your ecosystem to maintain balance and structure. When your operations are off balance, you end up spending a significant amount of time trying to improve one specific aspect in your business at a time. This causes other areas in the business to suffer as a result. For example, you focus on improving your sales, well, your customer experience suffers. You focus on improving your customer experience, well, guess what? Your sales and revenue suffers. You try to do it all, then you get burnt out and your mental suffers throughout that entire process. Again, this is the same loop of debt that we talked about early on. So even if you make a lot of money this way, you never make enough for you to truly be free. And more than likely, your problem is you're too focused on client acquisition. You need to leverage systems and protocols to buy your time back. But if you're just focused on reinforcing this one aspect of your business right here, then what's going to happen is you'll never solve this gap that's going to truly get you to your desired outcome. See, if I threw 140 plus booked appointments at most coaches, they probably crack under pressure. But when your infrastructure is optimal, you can deliver on every single mechanism because of how streamlined your operations are. This gives you an immense amount of leverage. Number 3, You have to know when to pivot and evolve. Regardless of how effective your client acquisition and operations are, you can still be outperformed by someone with greater attention and insight. Let's use the Alex Hormozi versus Kylie Jenner example. Have you noticed that Alex Hormozi's presence has skyrocketed lately? His brand has exploded, and this isn't by accident. He had an epiphany. And he realized despite all of his efforts, his elite systems, his top-notch sales process, his elite talent acquisition process, he found himself being outperformed by someone much younger than he is with less business experience. Now, Kylie Jenner has 400 million followers on just the Instagram platform alone, on top of the fact that she has an insane amount of insight on her target audience. With the click of a button, she could literally generate sales without even trying. That's what you call insane leverage. Now, Alex Hormozi realized that, right? He realized that no matter how much he poured into his ads, how big his sales team grew, real leverage came from a different approach. So instead of chasing sales, he shifted his focus on building his audience, increasing his brand awareness, and gathering valuable insights from his audience. This approach allows him to better understand his market and deliver exactly what they're looking for. Kanye West serves as another prime example. He made a massive $20 million in less than one day through a low-budget Super Bowl ad that he recorded on his phone. Now, here's the kicker. He paid $7 million for the Super Bowl slot. He recorded a 30-second video in his car for free and simply directed people to buy his shoes on Yeezy.com. That's it. And while everyone else was busy spending money on crafting high-quality ads, he deviated from the rest of the pack and generates $20 million for free. Pretty genius, right? But can anybody pull this off? Absolutely not. This comes from having an insane amount of leverage from your audience and knowing exactly what they want through data and insights that you've collected over time. Here's where most people, including myself, mess up at. You get so caught up on chasing the next sale that you don't realize when it's time to pivot and evolve in your business. In the beginning, your main focus should be on finding the right vehicle and refining your client acquisition system. However, since we know the name of the game is gaining leverage, there comes a time in your business where you need to pivot and concentrate on creating a system that puts you in a dominant position in front of your audience. That way, your sales process becomes easier and you're able to increase your client's lifetime value without having to invest a ton of money and effort. Now that you understand the natural order of S&M, I'm going to show you how you can piece all of this together while using what I call the optimal growth model. This model consists of 3 pillars: controlling your traffic, building your operations, and owning your traffic. Now, the first part is controlling your traffic. Since we understand that the name of the game is to gain leverage, our entire focus revolves around that concept. First, what you want to do is redefine your offer in a way that sets you apart from the pack and allows you to steer away from offering a commoditized service. This will also allow you to attract the ideal client that you want. Then you want to use a client acquisition vehicle that's going to allow you to capture and convert those prospects into clients quickly using paid ads. Also, unlike most funnels where the lead goes to a landing page and you hope that the person opts in, we bypass this by sending the leads to the inbox. That way we have full control of the lead flow. And once you have the lead in your inbox, we want to use what we call the 4 C's formula to convert them into high ticket customers. Now, step 2, we want to build out the operation. So as soon as we launch the client acquisition system, you want to immediately pivot and focus on streamlining your operations. There are 3 main components that we want to focus on. Number 1, we'll focus on core operational procedures, which will allow your business to function daily and operate efficiently. Number 2, scaling protocols that will enable you to effectively accommodate any increased workload and manage your business by the numbers using the proper KPIs. And number 3, talent acquisition system, which will allow you to connect your organization with exceptional leaders for sustained success, which in return will minimize attrition. Now, once your operations are running smoothly, you can shift your focus into leveraging your audience and gaining insights, which is number 3. You want to own the traffic. The goal here is once your well-oiled machine is running smoothly, your client acquisition, your operations, you're going to build out what we call an optimal ascension model. Now, this model will not only elevate your presence in front of your audience, but also help you attract the highest quality clients you could ever wish for, clients that will want to work with you forever. Now, formula to building out this model is pretty simple. Number one, you want to educate your audience. So you want to teach your audience how to solve their problems by creating a community where you can educate them. You also need to create unique sales assets that will increase your likelihood of conversion. Then you want to convert your audience using multiple conversion mechanisms. These mechanisms can work alongside your main client acquisition system. And then you want to gain new insights because your solution will introduce new problems. So you must gather insights daily from your clients to stay ahead of the game. And then last but not least, you want to solve new problems. Again, your solution will create new problems. So you need to figure out new solutions for those problems and ascend them into better products or services. Now, the goal is to gain leverage, expanding your audience and gaining valuable insights. That way your sales process becomes a lot easier. Again, more leverage. If you execute this correctly, you'll never get caught up in the loop of death cycle. And that's pretty much the optimal growth model in a nutshell. Now, before this can work, you need to understand this one important formula. I call this the success model formula. Now, we're at a day and time where information is at an all-time high. You can go on YouTube and literally search for anything. The problem is we get so much information overload that we don't spend time implementing at the same rate that we educate. So as you can see on the y-axis, the education goes up, but the implementation starts off extremely hard. And a lot of times, most entrepreneurs struggle to get past this part. But here's the thing. If you set the right expectations, you'll understand that, look, it never gets easy, but what happens is you gain leverage over time. So if you implement at the same rate that you educate, understanding that the goal is to gain leverage, then you will be successful. But a lot of times, most people can't go through that hump of the extremely hard start to this process. So most of the people that are watching this video are probably not going to do anything with this information. I understand that. It's a small percentage. But for the small percentage that does want to implement this information, for the small percentage that wants to actually move forward and start being successful in their business, I pretty much have an offer for you when it comes to implementing this optimal growth model. I call this the optimal growth program. In terms of fulfillment, you'll be working directly with me one-on-one as well as my team for 16 weeks. We'll personally be helping you craft your offer, build out your infrastructure, and guide you on how to manage your entire system. Now, here's the deal. Because we give such personalized support and we really work hands-on with our services, we can only work with a limited number of clients each month for this specific offer, which is 10 partners at a time. So once we fill up, there is going to be a wait list. Now, to qualify, you must be willing to do the following. You must be willing to take on sales calls unless you have an established in-house sales team. You must be willing to message leads until we actually help you recruit an appointment setter. You must be willing to brand yourself. So if you don't want to put your face out there, then this ain't for you. And you must be in a position to invest at least $5,000 more into your business or have a reliable source of income coming in. Now, we won't work with your company if this is just a side hustle, if you're looking for an easy way to make money, if you're not coachable or willing to adjust when needed, or if you're not willing to do revenue generating activities like take sales calls or message. Now, to apply, it's real simple. As mentioned earlier, we're not looking to work with a large number of people at once anymore. So once we get to 10 partners, there's just going to be a wait list. So if you're interested, just click the link below this video to apply. And hopefully you gain a lot of insights and clarity from this video. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side. All right. Peace.